Oh, hi, can say slut?
Hey, can we get a full shot here? Look who's... No? Okay. Then we should just start the show. No. Start the show. We don't need to know who's here. Hey, everybody, this is the DLLS Stars podcast. We'd like to welcome you in today because Sam is back. Luds and I have taken the appropriate
wondering why Luds was covering his face with the
because we don't think he's out of quarantine yet. He's here, but aren't you on like a CDC watch list now?
No, I'm not allowed to fly for 2 months, but other than that, I'm good.
Luds, how are you feeling about being this close to Sam, a.k.a. Butt Flu Nestler?
I got no problem. Everything's good over here. I'm quarantined over here.
I would like to welcome Sean Shapiro on the show as well. Sean, how are you feeling about Sam back at first? Yes! Look at that.
I'm taking the necessary precautions.
This is the bubble all over again.
I love it.
You
That's
never
awesome.
know.
Good work.
Ryan is
well
the
done.
only one. He's over there, but Ryan, our producer, is taking unnecessary risks.
I was just jamming all over his keyboard and controls. So.
Unbelievable. That is so funny. I love it very, very
Well
much. All right. Well, Lud, should we take a risk? All right. We can't podcast with it
I'm
on.
like
You
a
and me.
cockroach anyways. There ain't
That's right. You can't kill Luds. Sean, that was perfect. I love it.
That was.
I had it
hold on.
upside down, so I had the
It
metal part
is,
stuck in
if
my
for those
chin.
of you listening to the audio version of this later on podcast platforms, Luds, Sean, and I all were wearing N95 face masks to protect ourselves from the walking bacteria viral Sam Nestler.
Fair enough.
But one of these,
Can I get one?
you know what we should do? We should give you one. We should do, I don't know if Luds has ever seen Super
Yeah, you
Troopers.
actually do need one. You need to save
I need
yourself
to wear
from
one all
yourself.
the time.
We
Yeah.
should have,
I need to
Sean,
shower
we
in
should
that
have
thing.
Sam in the like delousing chamber, right? With the fireman's hose and the delousing powder, like they put a new prisoner inmate just to get him like fully decontaminated.
Well,
Spread
That
it.
that
Wait a
that
second.
or the full bubble boy treatment.
Oh, yes,
Well,
Moops.
Luds wrapped me up in bubble wrap last year.
His helmet's still up there.
Yeah.
well, wait.
That was from an injury. Not
Wait,
from an
Luds has got an
illness.
idea.
Well, no. I have a question for you, Artie. I got a question. Like,
Funny.
why isn't that the sick people don't wear the mask?
They
And then
should.
We shouldn't have to.
No, honestly, it would be polite if he
Wouldn't
came
that
in.
be the way to
Yes,
do it, though?
because that way it mitigates his spread. Yes.
He's got to wear on his
Has
butt.
that ever
though.
been discussed before or no?
In
Yes.
the world,
Well,
yes.
Well,
Yes.
why doesn't that fly?
I think it's cultural because in some countries, people that have a head cold will voluntarily wear a face covering to try to not spread their germs elsewhere. So really, you have to look at Sam and say, why are you not protecting us?
I don't have a fever anymore. I'm clear. I sweat it all out. Trust me. I had to clean the sheets.
Patient one, right? There you go. He's not patient zero. He's patient one.
All right.
All right, let's get to it. This is the DLLS Stars podcast for Thursday, January 28th. We're thrilled to have you here. And we didn't have Sean on the show last night. Sam was remote, but now Sam's back in person. We are excited that you're here, and
Thank
I hope
you.
that you are healthy for at least a couple of days.
Was there really a big difference if he'd have been here 12 hours yesterday?
Boy,
than
I hope
versus
so.
I
right
was
now?
technically contagious until my fever broke, which broke last night. So that's what they told me.
So no fever today?
No fever today. Sweat it all out.
Good.
What?
Yep.
So, Sean, because you weren't on last night's postgame show, Stars finally won a game. That's right. 6-game winless streak, 0-3-3, snapped by beating the Washington Capitals, who looked very mediocre. Now they're missing 3 important forwards, but what were your 2 cents about last night's game and finally getting over the hump of winning a game in the year 2026?
Well, it means they will not go completely defeated in the year 2026. So we have avoided that that reality, which is good news. And then just from a Stars perspective, um, it wasn't. I don't want to say like a statement or anything like that, because this team is not one that makes, you don't need to make statements when you are where they are in the standings. But after the colossal disappointment of the Carolina game, with a back-to-back against a team that has obviously, admittedly, has highs and lows in the Capitals, and you never know. Basically, with Washington, you're not sure what you're going to get based off flipping a coin. To me, this was a big building block moment for the team, because you could have, you could have taken the momentum, or whatever you want to call it, the bad juju from Carolina, and carried it over, and instead kind of put it behind you. And I think that's it's not a statement, but it's the answer this team is supposed to make. And that was kind of my one big takeaway from the game was, you know what? You went and did what you were supposed to. You went and responded the right way. Because if you went and lost that game, and if you lost that game even worse in disappointing fashion, all of a sudden we are having a much different show today. And I think that is that was my biggest takeaway. And then also, I think, I don't know, we called some players out. Not that they listened to this show, but we rated some players after the show the other night, and lo and behold, some of the ones that we rated poorly performed pretty well. So maybe they are watching this show. I don't know. Those are my takeaways.
Luds, now that you've had, I don't know, 12 hours or so, maybe 16 hours or so to digest last night's game, any other feelings besides the ridiculously silly chat that got going on all sorts of innuendos that Sean missed? Sean, you got shafted last night because you missed.
Nice.
Thank you. All the jokes. We definitely were teetering off the rails from start to finish.
Sure.
I think what I would kind of add to your original comment to Sean about where Washington didn't look very good.
Yeah.
I thought that the way that Dallas played last night contributed to them not looking very good. You know, and they're missing key players, but it just seemed to me like there was not a different mindset, a tweak of a mindset that they wanted to defend better last night and not give up chances if they didn't have to, and still create opportunities. But it just seemed like, and that can honestly, it could have come from just because of a game the night before, you know, and sometimes you have to be a little bit better in your own zone so you don't give up chances and then ultimately give up a couple goals because you may not have that extra gas in the tank to come back later in the game like they've been able to do. So combination of either way, whatever it was, I think they can draw on that game, and I think Gully and the coaches would go in there and say, listen, we played a good tight-ass game last night.
Agreed.
And you guys still had some chances to score goals. Thompson let in, the first one we know about, but he did let in. I mean, he made some good saves.
He made some very good saves.
You know, and I know you're going to ultimately go, and I didn't even know Hintz had 12 shots. It didn't even seem like that. But anyway, so they created opportunities from playing well in their own end. But I thought where I was happy with them is how they came back into their own end. And so they took away some chances, some scoring chances, because everybody was coming back harder and coming back all the way into the defensive zone.
You talk about this a lot with Ken Hitchcock and Rick Wilson. We talked about it a fair amount when Rick Bowness was the Stars head coach, and even Jim Montgomery before that. Bones would almost take personal offense of people saying, you're so prioritizing defending that you don't care about offense. And Bones would push back all the time in his really upbeat, energetic way of saying, no. He goes, just because we are focused on the way this team defends does not mean we don't want offense, but you don't have to sacrifice offense to be focused on defense.
Well, think about it. If you're playing well defensively and the team that you're playing against is going that direction, in other words, they're north, Dallas is south, and you're facing everything and you turn pucks over, they're the ones that have to do the 180 and start traveling back the other direction. Yep. So with the speed and passing ability and quick strike, more importantly, their passing ability, they can make east-west passes, 70, 80 feet, where you generally want to make 10 or 15 passes and work your way up there. they can do that pinpoint, and they can make plays, and they can spring plays. They can turn plays from the tops of their circles in their own zone. By the time they get to neutral zone, or probably the red line, between the red line and the other team's blue line, they can turn those into outnumbered rushes with one pass or even 2 quick passes. So again, it's just a mindset. And if they, now if they can, they're going to face, someone tomorrow, and there's going to be a lot of zigzagging going on there.
2 days.
So if they can shut those kind of teams down and not really give them anything and basically frustrate them, but still creating chances, then now they buy in more.
Yep.
Then they buy in more. And same thing. And again, I can go back 30 years. And when Hitch got here, it didn't take guys like me, because I didn't know anything else. I was never part of the offensive schemes, but it takes the best players to buy into that mindset.
Yeah, and you said frustrated. That's the exact word I was thinking, because not only does defending feed into your offense and all that, but when you frustrate a team, they start to try to make those plays, and they try to go east to west in their zone. They start to fumble a puck because they're thinking too much, and that's when you turn it on. And Dallas has been a great rush team for a long time. If you can frustrate them, keep them to the outside, as Golitzin said on day one, turn it up the ice the other way, it just feeds their game, and that's what we think we saw last night.
And that graphic that Sam had pulled up last night, I was going to say, and this was basically about being in front of the net, offensive net, about scoring goals and being in those areas. If you can take that graphic and you can take it and extend it all the way back to your own net in the same areas. So what you're doing is you're taking the dots in all 3 zones, and you're coloring those dots purple from one net to the other net. So if you can imagine where the face-off dots would be in the D zone, the offensive zone, and then and the other D zone, I should say, neutral zone. But and then all of a sudden where that deep dark purple is, that deep purple was a hell of a band too. But if you
Smoke on the water.
Yeah, if you could color that purple all the way down in those areas, extend it to the face-off dots, but all the way down to the other net, that's when you own the game.
Yeah.
When you own the middle of the ice, you own the game.
And they did. This is from Hockey Viz, by the way. I don't think we put the credit on there, but the other side of the ice looked the opposite of this. Their shots were all coming from the outside. They had 1 or 2 in the slot there. And then even crazier, I tweeted out last night after the game, the Washington power play had 1 shot, and it came from the outside of the right circle.
Yep.
That's dominating the game in all facets.
It was really good. Before we get to Rope Hints, which we're going to do, I just want to pose you guys a quick thought exercise. Do you think, if you look back at the last 2 games, back-to-back, at Carolina, at Washington, that the Stars won the preferred game? And what I mean by that is, obviously, you'd like to beat Carolina. They're higher in the standings, although Washington's no slouch. They've been in a bit of their own slump. Is it better, based on the Stars' schedule, to have won the second game with a travel day today, a practice day tomorrow, and then a game against San Jose on Saturday, versus if they won in Carolina to end the streak and then immediately lost the second, and then they have to chew on that for 3 days?
Well, I'm a big fan of winning the first game of a road trip.
Win
Right.
both.
I don't care who it is.
Right. If you were to say, hey, I'm going to have a back-to-back to start a road trip with the days between that they have now, is winning the second game slightly better because you get to marinate in it a little longer? Or does it not matter?
Well, the way I look at it is, if you beat Carolina, which was the tougher of the 2 teams, in my opinion, coming into it, you could be sitting 2-0 right now.
Yeah,
that's the way I look at it.
Well,
you win the game at hand. That's all I would say. Just win that game.
As Sean said and knows well, in the summer, Carolina to Washington, that's a tough travel day, right,
No,
Sean?
stop it. I meant Florida to Washington, and I said it wrong, and it sounded stupid, and I will own that.
That was funny.
Because flying from Florida to D.C. is a beating.
Yes.
The Stars got in, what, it was like 4 or 5 a.m. for that one? It was a while ago. But I said Carolina, and Sean gave me the quizzical look. The same time, we'll hear these guys say something, and he'll go, huh?
I love when Sean starts going,
Yeah, that's not right.
you're like, he's got something going on.
Okay, so Rope Hints. We're going to
That's
run
not
out of
right.
time in the segment. We can carry this
That's not
over.
right.
He set a Dallas Stars team record.
We'll let Sean take us to the break then.
I'm just going to set this up and then not let any of you speak
Perfect.
into the break. Rope Hints set a Dallas Stars team record. Not a franchise record, but he had the most shots on goal in one game in Dallas Stars history. It was tied for the second most in franchise history. He had 12 shots on
Behind
goal.
Craig Ludwig.
Not quite. Bobby Smith and Dino Ciccarelli have had 12 in a game. in 1980 and 1988, respectively. And then a month and a half later, Cicerelli had 14 against the Blackhawks in a game in Minnesota. But Rope passed a bunch of guys that had 11 for Dallas, including Mike Modano, Darian Hatcher, Jamie Benn, Tyler Sagan, and the one that might have been surprising.
Did you just say Mo and Hatch? The same two guys I've been texting with like for the last 30 minutes?
And there's one more guy
Hatch is in my hometown looking for
is
tickets
the
for the
event.
snowmobile race.
John Klingberg had 11 shots on goal in a game against the Arizona Coyotes
Those aren't
back
shots.
in
Those are
2016.
muffins.
We'll talk about what this means next here on the DLS Stars podcast. Maybe. Today's DLLS Stars podcast is brought to you by Wild Fork Foods Meat and Seafood Market. Here's something that you may or may not know about Wild Fork Foods. They blast freeze everything. It's actually fresher that way. Now that sounds weird. How is frozen fresher? It's because their process to freeze it when it's still fresh meat or seafood is in immaculate condition, and then it doesn't degrade over time like if you buy meat at the grocery store and then freeze it after you get, the expiration date is almost there. We throw it in the freezer and it becomes all freezer burn. No, you don't have to worry about that. This is perfectly executed. And you go to Wild Fork Foods, into their stores, there's 9 area DFW locations. They have an incredible, knowledgeable staff that can teach you how to defrost it properly, very easily, cook it, get the sides, the desserts, all that stuff. So 9 area DFW locations, Wild Fork Foods, Meat and Seafood Market. Go to their website, wildforkfoods.com. You will not be disappointed.
This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You, I, everybody, we make decisions every day. But with Prize Picks, you can get paid for being right. Don't miss out on the excitement this football season with Prize Picks. Prize Picks makes things super simple. Guys, they have stacks. So all you need to do is pick one player. So as I always say, Cam Ward, former Miami Hurricane, current Tennessee Titans quarterback, you want to pick rushing yards, passing yards, and touchdowns, more or less. You can do it all on one player, and you can win for just having that player have success. Or maybe next year, you want to pick reigning national champion Carson Beck for whatever team he gets drafted for. You can do the same thing. Prize Picks also allows you to follow other Prize Picks members, so you can just copy their stuff if you don't know anything about the NFL, just like me. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code DLS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code DLS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, good to be right.
All right, back to Rope Hintz. 12 shots on goal. I had him down for 9 scoring chances last night, and he finally scored on the 9th one, which was the empty netter from 135 feet.
See, I think they were a quiet 12, because normally when you see somebody like you're, oh my God, is he shooting tonight? I didn't see. I mean, yeah,
Just
chances
the
around
breakaway.
the
The
net.
breakaway was the only one
but
that was really obvious.
Because we didn't even talk about it last night. If it was something that popped during the game, we just said, "Oh my God,
Yep.
Rope had 12 shots."
They
just
weren't
looked at
all
it.
high dangers.
It was
but
just, it was just they were quiet 12, regardless how you ever want to look.
Sean, I know you wanted to ask Luds a question about it, and then did some reporting digging this morning. So, fire away.
Well, actually, I just did some quick research on something. That's important to note. On January 11th, 1994, Craig Ludwig had his career high for shots in a game, where Craig Ludwig had 6 shots against the Edmonton Oilers on January 11th,
That's got to be a
1994.
typo.
You were dumping it in on the net.
He
Yeah,
led
there's
the
no
team in
way I
shots
had
on
said.
goal.
Who was that against?
Stars
Oilers.
won 5-2. Luds led all players in shots that game with 6.
Man,
Did he score?
He had.
Well, it doesn't matter. Your shooting average can't go down if you don't
It's
have
the
any
Oilers.
goals. It's
if
0
you're
to
at 0 to start,
The
right?
Stars could use you against
Yeah.
the Oilers in the Western Conference
So-
Final.
You led, so Luds at 6. So it's but just like Rope Hintz did not score against a goalie, Luds did not score in that game either. So the so Luds, I wanted to, when it comes to when a guy is clearly shooting a lot and a guy is, I wanted to bring this up to you as from both the defending standpoint and from a teammate perspective. Do you start feeding a guy the puck more often? If your teammate is, hey, he's been shooting the puck a lot, does it become something where it becomes a natural, hey, he's feeling it, we're going to keep going it to him? Or is it something, and on the flip side, as a defensively, if a guy is kind of really doing that a ton and everything, does it change how you look at the game at all? I was curious as someone who maybe played with other players who would typically take that workload and that shot load from your perspective?
I would love to hear you ask that question to Mikko Rantanen about feeding the puck to Sam Steele. Because that's the first thing that comes to mind. I'm sorry, Sam,
Hey,
but
he had a good game last night too.
no, you know what I think? I think that when
Yeah.
players that are shooting the puck like you're talking about, and hence last night, they're doing something to get into those positions to shoot it. You know what I mean? Like they're getting. It's not like they're shooting it from the offensive. I mean, from the
Right.
far blue line.
Yep.
You know, so they're on their game, I would say. But you know what, Sean? And in all honesty, I gave it to the guy that was the closest guy to me immediately when it touched my stick. It didn't matter who I was, and I knew to give it to a guy like Zuby because Zuby had the ability to. He would actually have the ability to see Mike Modano and Brett Hull probably in the same places on the ice, so to speak, or both of them wide open. But he knew which one had a better quality opportunity, and he would give it to
Once
that
they
one.
got the puck.
Yeah, once they got the puck. So if it was Hully in his so to speak, phone booth where he liked to be, Hully would get it over Mo. But when you saw Mo's jersey flapping, you're like, get the puck to Mike right now. Because he's got 3 or 4 guys on the other team that are scared to the bejesus right now if he gets the puck because they're pinned back.
Well done.
So, I think, Sean, to be honest with you, I think that you just kind of look to, again, I'm just saying from me, but I think when you feel a guy is going, you're like, he's going. Wouldn't it be very similar to Gully on the bench or Hitch at the time was going on bench? You see a player that's going, you're like double shifting him. You know what I mean? Like you're throwing him out there because you can feel this guy's on it tonight.
Hey,
I never had that
Sean,
feeling.
when you did your research, were you looking up Dallas Stars, Minnesota North Stars, Craig Ludwig? Because our crack research and analyst, Ryan Vaughters, has caught a higher shot total game from Luds.
Oh, for the other team.
I don't know
really?
what's going
For
on.
the
March?
This is
For
like
when?
April
No.
Fool.
the
Wait a minute.
Habs.
When?
Here's the crazy. Hold on 1 second. I got to look this up now because
When?
this could be serendipitous. Yep. Okay. You didn't even realize this, Ryan. March 15th, Luds' birthday, 1983. So that had to be
That'd
what?
been
Your
my
second year in the NHL. Montreal beats the
7.
Hartford Whalers 5-1. Craig Ludwig, 7 shots on goal
I call bullshit.
and
Unbelievable.
2 secondary assists.
I almost thought you were going to say 2 went in.
No.
Like,
Ryan
You ever have a
Walter
multi-goal
Ryan
game?
Walter
No.
scored a power play goal from
Never had a
Larry
2-goal
Robinson
practice.
and Craig Ludwig, and then Guy Lafleur scored even strength from Ryan Walter and Craig Ludwig. It was Luds' 24th and 25th assists of the season.
Lethal.
I mean,
offensive weapon.
offensive juggernaut.
Yep.
7 shots on goal.
On your
Luds.
birthday, so you were probably hungover.
Well, when you saw, yeah. When
Or he would be
No,
hungover.
it was going to be the
going
next
out
day.
the next day.
But when you see Guy Lafleur, you give him the puck. Now Carbo not so much, but you give. So I don't remember, no clue. And I was using the wooden stick then, by the way, folks.
By the way,
Till
according to the box score, that
was
was
a
a
Canadian.
game high 7 shots
When
on
did you
goal.
stop using
Both
wooden
teams.
stick?
As soon as the other ones came out, I guess.
The
Do you know
two-piece?
When do you even when? I'm trying to think. I know
I
I was in
mean-
like middle school. I thought
Well, yeah, but that was like 5 years ago.
that's true.
Yeah. I think
That's fair.
the 2-piece they were still using wood sticks in the 90s, but I think the 2-piece came in around somewhere in
Around
that.
when they won the cup, like late. 90s
No,
or
you guys have been
early
using
90s?
that
it
by
would have
then.
been before that.
Yeah.
Believe. Yeah.
But
Um,
okay, Ryan,
the
would you
old synergy
show
Z-bubble.
the? So we're a little bit past the midway point.
Well,
Stars play-
hey, real quick.
Oh. Go ahead.
Real quick. Are we here?
That's not quick.
Nope.
Yeah, we got you,
I
Sean.
believe I believe the first wooden stick, the first 2-piece, the one with the aluminum shaft, came out in there's that word again, came out in like 1982 or 1981, and then I believe it was regularly produced for NHLers around 1985. As I remember
Oh wow,
correctly.
super early.
Yeah, but guys were still using wooden sticks a
Yeah,
lot.
Yeah,
back then.
I didn't even know about it till.
You seem like a Z bubble kind of guy.
Do you guys remember we were talking about Tom Rowe the other day with Petro? The other day, it was a little while ago, about what Tom did when he was with the San Antonio Rampage and then Florida. There was a defenseman, and I won't name him today, with the Albany River Rats when Tom was the head coach, who Tom said he had such lousy feel with the puck that he made him switch back to a wooden stick. And this was in 2007. And he goes, there's no way with your stone hands you're going to play with a one piece. And he made him go back. He was a defenseman, big, tough, could fight, made him use a wooden stick.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with stuff like that. I mean, sometimes with the new aluminum sticks and the the flex and all that other kind of stuff for us plumbers, they're a little bit harder to handle.
Yeah,
Like, and every time you try to chop someone, they break.
Yeah, that's I know a lot of high school football coaches, when gloves started becoming really popular, they would make players take them off because they would get really excited to wear the flashy gloves, and they would drop every pass.
Kind of ironic, isn't it? All right,
Not
so
talking about me.
We are slightly past the halfway point. 44 games in the season. The league is around that spot. There's some that have played a little bit less, a couple more. But we wanted to do a quick check-in, and we can carry this over, of where the Stars are at. So we have a couple of stats from the Stars team perspective as they rate from the league, and we have a couple graphics. So check these out, and I want to get your impressions about them. So the first thing that we all know is that the Stars have the second most wins, point percentage. They have the second best record in the NHL.
Who's first?
That would be the Colorado Avalanche. I think most people know that follow hockey regularly. But check this out. Now, we have some really important stuff on the other card. But shots on goal, we all know they're not a high shot volume team. They're 29th out of 32 NHL teams. And they're 15th in shots against. So right in the middle of the pack. A good face-off team.
Always.
At 7th. They're not first. They were usually 1, 2, 3 the last couple of years, I think.
Jamie's been hurt a lot, too.
Jamie was hurt for a bit. No Tyler Sagan hurts.
Yep.
They don't have that righty-lefty on every line. So all of those things can have a factor in it. Before we get to the other stuff, which I think is more interesting because it's goals, power play, and expected goals, anything from the three of you on any of these 6 categories that you see where they are at the midway point?
The only one for me is shots on goal. I know that's not a huge, like, that doesn't always mean what people think it means. It's not the biggest tell. You can look up and see the Stars got outshot in a ton of games and won a ton of games because of it. But I know that they are trying to get more pucks to the net because that can create the chaos and things around it. I think last night was only the second time they get hit 30 in like the last month or something like that. So good trending upwards, but that's been an issue.
Yeah, they actually outshot the Caps last night, which was a nice thing to see.
Good
Okay,
amount.
so let's go to the other graphic because this one I think tells a little bit more of the story. 3rd in the league in goals for per game, 7th in goals against. Those are good numbers. Whenever the first one is higher than the second, you have a positive goal differential, whether it's per game average or overall. That's a really good thing. We all know the special teams have been excellent. The penalty kill has gone up and down a little bit lately. They started off slow, got really good. They were up into the, I think, 6th or 7th, dropped a little bit, but here we are then. And then Sean dug this up for us via natural stat trick. Expected goals for and expected goals against. And Sean, when you see that they're mid-table in expected goals for and then pretty high in expected goals against, what do you take away from that?
That graphic is wrong. That should be 17th for expected goals against. I don't know.
So it's not 7th, it's 17th. Okay, so what does that mean to you?
That's 17th.
That could have been a typo on my part.
Yeah, so they're 15th in expected goals for and 17th in expected goals against for when it comes to natural stat trick. And I think there's 2 things about this.
Yeah, that's me. I transcribed that. I missed a 1.
Yeah. So there's two takeaways for me. One, the process is there's room for the process to improve, right? Like we've talked about this multiple times about things that this team can do better, but it's also reflective to me of their talent. When you are outscoring your expected goals, and then when you are you're outperforming your expected goals against, right? Like their expected goals against are 92, whatever, with whatever decimal, and they've only let up 78, I think it is. That, to me, that is a testament to talent.
Wait, is that all situations, or is that even strength?
That's all situations. Situations.
Because they have 121 goals against, but only 92 expected goals against.
Yeah,
just like they have. They have 150 goals and only 90 xG. So obviously, some of the goals that go in are ones that are from a really low number.
That was the even strength. That was combining things in my head from different things. But
the
moral of the story for me is when you're talking about the end product and the finishing here, is it's a pretty damn talented team. And I think Luds, this is stuck in my brain since Luds said this 6 or 7 games into the season. Luds said, they're a really good team that has a lot of talent where this talent can make up for a lot of the deficiencies. And I think there's that has stuck with me for a lot of the season since Luds said that, because you know what? That's true. There's been times where they've gotten through lulls and they've gotten through issues by just out talenting their problems. And I think it's one of the things that kind of came back to bite them in the rear end the past, well, not last night, but the last 6 games, for their talent wasn't getting it done or wasn't over the final line for them, and they were getting outworked, and all of this was coming together. And that to me is, I go back to that, where this is one of the talent wise on paper in the standings, one of the best 3 teams in the NHL. They could be better. And that's what, when I look at the expected goals for, expected goals against, I look at the process, I look at this, I see the space to go all of this. And I know we got to go to break real quick, but to me, this is the spot where we already know who they're going to play in the first round. We all know where this is going. This season now becomes, to me, how do you improve that process over the final 40, whatever games it is, to be able to, where we're not having these questions of, well, the process wasn't good enough to beat the Minnesota Wild. So take it to break.
That are we going to
No,
break?
go ahead. You can.
I was just going to say, I think that process started last night. I think the process.
Yeah.
I think the process started during the losing streak, because listen, it's always great if you can outscore your mistakes, but eventually it catches up to you sometime, and generally it's with game 83, because everything, as we know, everything tightens up. You play the same team every other night for 2 weeks. You learn things about your opponent. You learn about the players you can push out of the fight. Mikko Rantanen is not a guy that you're going to push out of the fight. But are you going to be able to lean on a smaller player than Mikko, like a Wyatt Johnston? And are you going to be able to push him out of the fight? And you've got certain players we're going to say, Wyatt Johnston, if he wants to go into the slot on the power play there, it's going to be very similar to when Hintz took one across the ankle. Yep. And, that's what's going to happen in the playoffs. So my long-winded way of saying, you need to have your defensive game in order, because if you run into a hot goaltender, one of your top players gets hurt, somebody goes dry,
special teams go dry.
You can lean on your defensive side of the game to keep you hanging around games longer, and don't let it get out of reach, because you don't have everything to be able to climb back into games because somebody's cold, somebody's not in the lineup. So if you can have that base or that foundation, I believe that you're always in those games.
Yep.
And I think everything that you're showing here, we've said it from the beginning of the year. Another game that they probably shouldn't have won. They've got timely goals. They got goals on the power play that at the time teams didn't know how to play against them on the power play. They're like, oh, so this is what they like to do. Okay, well, we'll take that part away and make them do something different. Now it's up to the coaching staff to have a couple different setups, power play wise, maybe another entry or so. But again, if you can get your foundation, your base, you can that can carry you through the playoffs.
Well, we have a lot more to get to, and up next, more mid-season conversations about who's been playing well here on the DLLS Stars podcast.
You don't already know this, I recently got a new puppy. And let me tell you why I'm telling you this. Because it has made my life very busy. Hockey, puppy, fiance, all kinds of things going on. And I know you guys have busy lives too, but with Monarch, they make it easy for people with busy lives. Monarch makes it super simple to hit all of your financial goals by giving you a clear financial picture. Lays out everything easily for you. Investments, you're tracking your spending, your 401ks, your debt, whatever it is, they have everything in there. Gives you a clear picture so that you can understand where you are and understand how to get your financial goals within reach. Monarch is not just another finance app. It's a tool real professionals and experts actually love. The best budgeting app of 2025 by the Wall Street Journal. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code DLS at monarch.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year. Monarch.com with code DLLS.
With over 700 five-star reviews and an average rating of 4.9, Qualis Roofing is one of the most trusted names in roofing across North Texas and Austin. Homeowners and business owners alike consistently praise Qualis for their honesty, follow-through, and quality workmanship. Whether it's your home or business, Qualis Roofing have you covered, literally. Based right here in North Texas, Qualis isn't some storm-chasing fly-by-night crew. They're local, experienced, and committed to doing things the right way. No pressure, no gimmicks, just honest assessments and quality work. Schedule a free roof inspection and get a free DLLS shirt. Replace your roof with Qualys and choose between a free Blackstone grill or the popular Traeger smoker, because getting a new roof should come with a little extra sizzle. If your home was hit by recent storms, don't wait. Qualys offers free storm damage assessments and can help guide you through that insurance process. Call or go online to schedule your free roof inspection, and don't forget about the ass and make sure it's either the smoker or the Blackstone grill. Visit QualisGC.com or just search Qualis Roofing and Construction, that's Qualis, or call 817-500-9008. Bang!
All right.
Bang.
So I think we may have lost Sean
looks
here.
different.
Yeah, but that's all right. He'll be back
There
in a
he is.
second. Sean sent
still
something
here.
to
I
the
didn't go
group
anywhere.
text, which actually created a thought in my head, which is always great. But this is a fun thing I wanted to talk about. If you guys want to talk any more about the stats we showed in the last segment, feel free to jump in. I think we're moving well in that regard. But the NHL.com has been doing these mid-season voting block projects, which is they took, I believe, 16 of their NHL.com writers that cover the league for either regionally, nationally, or for specific teams. And they did a end of season style vote for the major NHL awards. And so far they've released basically all the ones we talk about except for the Selke and the Hart. But I wanted to show these because they're not only they're interesting, but the Stars have a couple players in two of the big ones. So Ryan, let's start with the Norris Trophy voting so far. This is at mid-season. Here it is. Miro Heiskanen, third in the mid-season Norris voting. And we did a big mini pod and a discussion about what he could do. And I think he's in the conversation. But he's got to probably pick up the offense from where he is now to get anywhere close to Cale Makar, right?
Yeah. Somebody's got to get close.
It's Makar.
Is he going to win like 6 of the next 8 Norris trophies?
Yeah, what is the record, by the way? Is
That's
it 6?
That's a good
5 or
question.
6?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
Who would your guess be? For the
my
most?
my guess would be, well, Nicky Lidstrom
That was my
probably
guess.
won 4 or 5 for sure. Bobby Orr probably has got 3 or 4. Hedman's probably got 2 or 3.
I want to say it's 3.
Lidstrom has
But
6.
Makar's got to
Who?
have.
Bobby Orr's 8.
So is that the
it's
most?
Bobby Orr, because Lidstrom has 6.
Lidstrom
Bobby
had
Orr
6.
Bobby Orr won 8 in a row. By the way.
I was going to say,
That's insane.
that
Doug Harvey won a whole bunch too.
Makar's going to break the record of 8, and he's going to win 8 in a row.
The other guy I would throw in there is the kid in Detroit, Sider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where he is point wise, but I think, well, Sean, you see him quite a bit. I mean, I don't look at him as the big put up the point guy, but he's hard to play against, and he's always been a physical kind of specimen back there. So, yeah, I don't know how. One that surprises me, and maybe it's all the trade stuff, is Hughes. I figured it would be Makar, Hughes, 1, 2.
Well,
but
his team was awful,
Yeah.
so I think that's probably right now he's playing like a Norris Trophy winner. So
Lidstrom won 7,
Yeah.
including 6 in a 7-year
7.
period.
wow,
You know who else went nuts besides, obviously, Bobby Orr won 8 in a row, was a long time ago in the 50s and 60s, Montreal Canadiens,
Harvey?
Doug Harvey
Yeah.
won 7 of 8 years
Oof.
from 55 to 62. Only his teammate, Tom Johnson, won in 1959 to break that streak. So those are the big ones. And then more recently, it's been more variety. It hasn't been just one guy every year. Makar has won twice so far in 22 and 25. He probably it's his to lose again this year, though.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's look at the Vezina, because this is the one that Sean sent the group today. And Sean, I think you should make the comment that you made earlier about this, as you see Logan Thompson, Scott Wedgwood, and Jake Ottinger, although quite a gap in points between Wedgie and Otter.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as I said to you on the phone earlier today when we were doing some show prep, Owen, could you ever imagine living in a world where Scott Wedgwood wins a Vezina Trophy before Jake Ottinger?
yeah. How about a
Which
Stanley
was
Cup
something
too?
yeah. And on top of that, the other thing, and this is the whole, like, right now it's an interesting with these 3 up here, because I think it's Logan Thompson's is probably deservingly on the top of this list right now. But if Scott Wedgwood does somehow get this all done and wins this award, probably be the most surprising Vezina Trophy winner since the guy named Jim Carey won it in the mid-90s for the Washington Capitals, and not the Jim Carey who was in the Truman Show, a different Jim Carey. So
That's right.
It's
1 R versus 2 Rs.
Yes, exactly. And so this is I mean, we've talked about all the time about various things with the Stars world and what Casey DeSmith has done for the Stars and everything like that. But Scott Wedgwood has, you talk about a late career glow up or whatever term you want to use. Good for him, because he has found the right place and the right opportunity after betting on himself and not like Scott Wedgwood right now would not be on this list if he had accepted that he was $1 million backup in Dallas.
Yep.
Scott
100%.
Wedgwood bet on himself, took the extra money to go to Nashville, got traded to Colorado. So kudos to him. So
the only bad thing about it, because everything else is great, he's increased his career earnings, 3 or 4 times over now because of it. And I'm really happy for him. The only bad thing about him choosing that path is that if he was still with Dallas, he'd probably be a weekly guest on our show. And we would really have fun with that.
Yeah.
All right,
He didn't answer my text last week to come on our show.
Well,
so
you should
Scott,
text him again.
Let's get this going here.
Big timing,
since
you know.
You guys were talking about goalies there, I want to bring up Glenn Hall passed away.
Oh, yeah.
A day or two ago. I'm not sure.
Yeah, this week.
But recently. But the one thing about Glenn Hall, which never be broken, talk about records. 502, I believe it's 2, Sean, 502.
Yeah,
straight,
502.
502 straight starts.
Oh.
Including playoffs, it was something like 550
Unbelievable.
something. Crazy. I mean, every game.
He just never
500
missed.
games in a row. I mean, it's just, again, different time, but just incredible.
Probably easier on the knees if you're a stand-up goalie back then. But I saw a photo on Twitter, I think it was yesterday, Luds, where it was Marty Brodeur, Ed Belfour, Grant Fuhr, and Glenn Hall all standing in street clothes together at some function. And it was just a list of royalty of NHL goalies.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the Calder Trophy, because we have 2 more that they did, the NHL.com writers. I'm sure at some point we'll get the Hart, but check this out. 2 goalies in the top 5 in their Calder voting at midseason, including Jesper Wallstedt in Minnesota and Yaroslav Askarov, Sean's favorite in San Jose. By the way, Sean has got multiple goalie favorites, as he is allowed to. We've seen Beckett Seneca play for Anaheim. We'll see him next week. He's excellent.
To score
okay,
every night.
What I'm confused about this, because I told you I was watching the game last night with San Jose. Isn't Celebrini available to win this?
No, that was last year. He's not. He's played too many games.
I thought they said that he was still available to win it because he only played a certain amount of games last night.
Well,
if this is it,
that 25.
It's less 25 or under 25.
Okay. I thought I could have swore they said that. Maybe what they said
He'd be an
probably
easy,
wasn't
he'd be the
available.
easy pick.
No, he's played.
For
He's
sure.
played
Although
113, so he's way over that.
Schaefer's the one that probably is the one that flew under the radar right from the beginning, and he's just been.
And Luds, here's what I love is that those points on the right are voting points. Demidov actually leads the NHL in rookie scoring. He has 36 points. Schaefer is 3rd with 29.
Now, the people that are voting on this, the same people that vote at the end of the year?
Yes, the same. Just not entirely.
No,
These are NHL.com writers, not the.
They have.
Go ahead, Sean.
The people, NHL.com people do not get to vote on NHL awards at the end of the year.
Is that because they're NHL employees?
Yeah.
No, the only person we know, honestly, on this show, Sam Nessler will have a vote. We know Sam Nessler sitting right there. Sam Nessler will have a vote.
They give him the keys.
And I picked Jimmy Snugger to win it.
It's a PHW. The Calder, the Norris, the Hart are PHWA awards. The Vezina is voted on by the GMs. So these people voting work for the league, and they will not be the ones voting on the award. So it's a temperature of things, but it's not actually reflective of the actual voting block, if that makes sense here.
Are we all in agreement that at this point that it's Schaefer's to lose at the middle of the season?
Yeah.
Sure seems like it to me.
Right? I mean, if you look at that real quickly one more time, Ryan, just pop that up. I like the idea of one of the goalies, but I was big in Dustin Wolf last year. And Wallstedt is split with Gustafsson.
Yep.
Now, if they make the playoffs, Askarov, there could be something there with San Jose, but we'll talk about that again in a minute. I'm not even sure if Demidov is the best rookie on the Canadiens right now, because that Oliver Kapanen looked great the other night in Dallas. But let's go to the Jack Adams, because that's the other one that they did. And this is for Coach of the Year.
Jeez. Where's John Cooper's name?
People are complacent because he's
votes.
always good.
And Glenn Goldson also got votes.
Yeah, 14
Oh,
points.
I would think Gully should be up.
Yeah,
I would have thought Gully would have been up here.
They're both on that list
totally
right there.
honest with
So what's that? 4? They're 6th and 7th. Is that what I can't really read
Luds,
it, but-
I get Colorado's doing something crazy.
Yeah,
so
Bednar
should
hands
be.
down.
Quenneville getting Anaheim to the playoffs is a good one. Todd McClellan, the turnaround. Obviously, Minnesota's been better. What about Ryan Warsofsky? If the Sharks find a way to the playoffs, shouldn't he be in that conversation too?
Yeah, I think that's the one for me. Like we talked about last year, I forget. I want to say it was the Calder with Wolf. I was like, if they get in the playoffs, he wins it. That's a key one for.
And
a lot
they
of these
didn't.
guys. If
Yep.
it's a team that's so far expected not to be anywhere near that playoff hunt, and they get there, that's when they should make a pretty big jump.
Okay.
It bothers me. I know Coop's a buddy and stuff like that, but why isn't he up there where that team is, what that team is doing now? Their number one defenseman is out of the lineup. And then you look at Bednar, which again, I agree with that too. You got arguably the best forward on the planet. You got the best defenseman on the planet.
Yep.
You know, so you could say, oh yeah, you know, you got Kucherov and this and that, but I don't understand why guys like that never get their name mentioned.
I agree, because they're
don't get it.
expected to be good, and they
That's
don't
the
get
funny
the votes.
one is that you'd think that, like what I was just saying, you think that the votes would go with the natural reaction of that. Wow, the Sharks are good. Let's go with him. Colorado was expected to be very good.
Well, not even this good.
But still, they're expected to be essentially.
real
I think
quick,
some people don't want the award because they
real
seem to
quick,
get fired within
because
a year.
we have to go to break and Luds has to leave early. They haven't done the Hart. If you were to vote today yourself, who would be your Hart Trophy winner midseason? Luds?
For me, it's going to be one of them two guys, McKinnon or McDavid. But I'm telling you again, the Celebrini kid. Now, somebody give me the true definition of this. Is this to their team or to the league? Because if it's to the team and San Jose makes the playoffs, isn't it Celebrini?
Could be.
Yeah.
I mean, is he not
It is
more
to your
important to
team.
that team than McKinnon is to the Avs because of the supporting cast?
I know he's got McCarr and they've got a great. For me, it's McKinnon. I think he's the most important player. I think he drives
I think he could be
them-
the MVP of the league.
Yes.
But I think I don't know how, because
Maybe.
he's got a supporting cast.
Yeah.
Celebrini doesn't have and Celebrini, I think there's a couple guys on that team hurt. I don't know. I'm confused by the way that the award is. You know, to the team.
I think
or to the
technically
league?
it's the team, but I don't believe that all the voters go that way.
Vote that way.
Yeah, because it usually goes. I mean, it's usually the points leader. That's the way it is. But for me, I'd pick Kucherov.
Yeah.
Because of, like you just said, they got injuries there. They're still first in the Eastern Conference.
And he's probably going to be a 100-point guy
Yeah,
again.
I just don't think. I think you should always go with, if this guy wasn't on your team, how big would the gap be?
Yeah.
How good you are versus how good.
Sean,
you
you
would
got
be.
like 10 seconds. Who'd you go with if you would pick it right now midseason?
All right, two quick things. It's going to take more than 10 seconds. I'm sorry. But Macklin said the Hart is for the MVP. The Ted Lindsay Award is for the best player. So much hockey media forgets the Ted Lindsay exists. Players vote on the best player. Hart is for the most valuable player. Media always forgets this and votes the wrong way. It is most valuable player to their team. That is in the definition of the award. So the San Jose Sharks, their second leading scorer, Alexander Wedberg, has 30 points. Their third leading scorer has 29 points. Combined, that number is 59. Macklin Celebrini has 67 points.
Yep.
No one else on that team is above plus minus, not the greatest stat. We all know. No one else on that team is above a +5. Macklin Celebrini is a +17. There is no one else in the league more valuable to their team than Macklin Celebrini. The kid should win the Hart. Like if they don't make the playoffs, no one on their team is more valuable than Macklin Celebrini. So
All right. I agree. You guys make a compelling argument. I might even change my vote from McKinnon to Celebrini. Luds has got to go, but Sean, Sam, and I will still be here after this live break on DLLS.
See you, boss.
Sean gets to start.
are we live? We're live. Okay, yep, and we're out.
There.
Just
Oh,
like
I am cameo.
just like you can go and you can be the Macklin Celebrini in your own world, and you can become a DLS diehard. Be your own MVP, where you can by clicking that QR code can become part of the coolest community in DFW sports. We have an awesome Discord. We have, and even though Luds is leaving the show right now, I believe we still call it Luds Damn Discord. Incredible conversation happens all the time during games, every single day, and on top of that, you get an awesome shirt, which I am actually wearing one today. Let's see. There we go.
That's a nice
Dallas
shirt.
Hockey. There we go.
Yay, look at
nice
that.
There we go. See, we got a
Definitely
shirt.
bought it himself.
Yes, definitely purchased it. No, actually, no, Sam, I did not. You know what I did? I became a diehard, and I got a free shirt with my membership.
Oh,
That's what I did, Sam.
great non sequitur.
That's how you keep
Segue.
not how that word works, Sam. Not how that
That's
word
not
works.
right.
But even though Sam doesn't know how
Amalgamation.
non sequitur works, he does know how to write a pretty damn good article, and you only get those articles if you become a diehard. So become a diehard. One of the best things that you can potentially do. You get to join an amazing community, and on top of all of that, it's fun, right? Like it's kind of cool, sicko level stuff, as our GM likes to say, and we even have fun new ads that came out now. So yeah, become a diehard, get the merch, everything.
Hey,
So
lads.
Hey, Sean. Well, Ryan, want to throw up some random merch? Because I'm going to talk about the DLS merch and hats that you can get.
How about
from
not
being a
random merch?
diehard.
How about
No, just
called upon?
there you go. I was just going to see what he threw up, and I was going to go with it.
All right.
These hats are beauty. I'm not wearing one of these today because you guys know the Canes. But I was wearing
Ugh.
one the other night and one last night. The white and black one are my favorite. The Cadillac one, the DLS one. I also have the green one. I don't have the Mavs one for obvious reasons, but the white one is fantastic, super comfortable. The black one's great for looking good, but also it's light, so you can wear it to work out, things like that. Let's throw up a shirt, Ryan. Let's talk about our shirts. We got a lot of great shirts. Owen has almost every single one of them.
Most of them.
Finnish Mafia.
Got that one.
I don't think I have this shirt, which is surprising to me. But our boy Andrew Leonard, the alumni trainer, has been wearing it, taking pictures with Stars players, Finnish players, which has been fantastic. This is I think it's our top seller, maybe one of the top sellers, if not the top seller of DLS in general.
It was for a while, I
Well, got
believe.
beaten by
The
that
Shiesty.
new- yeah. All right, let's throw one more up, Brian. One more shirt to talk about. The Finnish shirt.
Nico.
We're going Finnish today. The Finnish shirt. We have we have multiple Finnish shirts. We got Miko shirts. We got Wyatt shirts. Madonna
Moose
shirts.
mode.
Throwback shirts. All the good stuff. Go to alldls.com right now and shop. And maybe I can shop for a mosquito catcher right now because there's one flying right around my head.
There's no way there's a mosquito
right here.
in
Look.
here. It's a bug or is it a mosquito?
It's a mosquito. I'm
Okay.
telling you.
All right. Well, we thought this would be a great opportunity to, since Luds took off, and we might not hold his attention on this one. He would admit it, so it's not like we're saying this behind his back. To talk a little bit about prospects in junior hockey, because Sean was just attended the World Junior Championships, which were held, was it last week they finished up, Sean? Or earlier this week was the gold medal game?
they finished up on Sweden won the gold medal on Monday night.
That's what it was.
Monday. So
And so Nils
Last week,
Lundqvist was super excited. Obviously, Radek Faksa, as Czechia had a big upset, was very excited. Anyway, one of the players, was it only one? Just Emil Hemming of the Dallas Stars prospects that were as part of this tournament this year?
Well, no, I mean Mons Goose won a gold. He didn't dress, but Mons Goose was the third string goalie for Team Sweden, and then Ati Joki, who's a Stars 5th round pick, was for Finland, is in that tournament as well. Who went from being the 13th forward to playing and being the 13th forward again. So, but Emil Hemming obviously having the most on ice impact of any Stars prospect at this tournament.
Okay, so what would you report on how he played over the course of this tournament? Because I saw a few highlights online. I saw his name come up a little bit. I wasn't super involved in this. I'm sure some of our viewers might be, others might not.
Yeah.
For those that weren't dialed into the World Juniors, it's a great tournament, but their Stars were playing like every other day. What takeaways did you have about Hemming and the way that he played and looked? Because the last time we really saw him was training camp when he was playing preseason games.
Yeah, and so you got to remember, Hemming started the year, went from preseason, went down to the Texas Stars, played 5 games with the Texas Stars, and they really struggled. I think they were 0-5 while he was down there, and then the Stars made the decision to send him back to Barrie in the OHL, and he's really clicked offensively since he going back to the OHL, playing against his own peers and everything like that. And then at World Junior, I was excited to be able to watch him in person a little bit more for multiple games. I've seen him in person in OHL play, I want to say once or twice before World Junior, but either way, for me, I was able to watch him in person three times at World Junior in close succession. And it was interesting to kind of watch his game and see we know the shot is there. We know the shot is the reason that he was drafted so high and everything like that. But it was to kind of watch how he's using his shot to build the rest of his game was the encouraging thing for me. Where um, it's the famous example that Owen knows I'm going to use all the time is Martin Firk. Martin Firk had one of the hardest shots in all of hockey, and
one of my favorite names in hockey, FRK, yep. Firk.
Yep, and he's someone who the reason he never stuck in the NHL was he didn't do enough to create that shot for himself at the top level or build off the rest of it. And so watching Hemming play, I was highly encouraged by both how he was able to create his shot against his own peers and also how he was able to take shooting opportunities and turn it into other things as well. Being a shot pass options, create space for others. And so it was good to watch all of that. And it's an interesting perspective to get on him. While I also spoke to Rich Peverly, who's Stars director of player personnel there at the tournament, and Rich and I spoke about how with Hemming, the Stars are highly encouraged, and he's a really good case study of why it's okay to have patience with a prospect. He came to the AHL, and he could have spent the rest of the season with the Texas Stars, and that's something that some organizations probably would have continued to do to have him play in the AHL. But he was struggling to get opportunities. He wasn't really winning more opportunities, and minutes were down. And as Rich and I spoke about, it's something along the lines of that's the spot where the Stars made the decision. We could let him stay in the AHL, but then he wouldn't be his development this year would be more about surviving to stay on the team and stay on the ice, as opposed to going to Barrie in the OHL, and then what he did at World Junior, where he's touching the puck a lot. He's a big time producer on his team, and he's a focal point. And the creating the confidence of this is your game and this will be your game as the other parts of your game mature as you move up. And so that's something for me with Hemming that I think is a very important storyline and lesson of when it comes to time and moving things. Not everyone is going to be obviously Wyatt Johnston. Some players are going to need the time to kind of, I think we're seeing it right now. We talk often about Maverick Bourque in the NHL level, right? Where there's times where we see Maverick Bourque at the NHL level where he's not playing. He's trying to basically survive and stay in the league as opposed to actually playing his game. And at a lesser extent, earlier career path point, that's what the Stars are hoping Hemming takes from this junior experience is that the patience kind of continues to develop him. I'm excited about the kid to see where he goes. I think he's got a shot that is a weapon that this team doesn't have in its prospect pool. This team has a lot of, in recent years, there's a lot of the tools up here in the brain that allow Wyatt Johnston and other skills like that. But from a physical tool perspective, Hemming may have one of the best shots of anyone in the Stars organization right now. And so I'm encouraged by it and watching him in person, and I think he's a good kind of lesson for patience here. So.
Yeah, Sean, I'm just curious real quick. You kind of touched on it, but I know for a lot of fans, it's really hard to track prospects, right? It's so hard to even watch them.
Yeah.
And it's hard to tell the difference between a guy who's dominating in junior and is never going to make the NHL and a guy who has a chance. So if you were to say Emil Hemming's future, if he stays with the Dallas Stars, do you believe he's an NHL player for this team?
I think he is. I think he is. I think he's someone who's going to be I don't know if there's enough of the I don't know if there's enough of the hard skills for him to be. And when I talk about hard skills, I'm talking about because I think the defensive details still have to develop, and then there's some things there that I think will come together. But I think he is going to be someone where he will play NHL games for the Stars. The question for Emil Hemming is going to be, will he be a bona fide top 6 guy? Because if he is, I think he's a guy who long term I would love to, because like we one of the great things about the Stars and their contract situation is we know Mikko Rantanen signed for as long as he is. Wyatt Johnston's decided, Rope Hansen signed for long. Like with Hemming's, if you can set up Hemming's shot along either across from Jason Robertson on the power play on the wing, or maybe on a second unit, that's such a weapon with the passers you have on this team. And so like Emil Hemming has
Shane
the tools.
to Hemming in 2 years.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Like he has the tools and the opportunity to really fit well on this team. I do think he is going to be one of those guys where there's going to be that line of he's going to either, and he's going to get some time because he's a first round pick. He's going to get some time to fight through it more than some guys who are a lower pick or maybe undrafted, a guy like a Justin Ritzkovian who obviously signed an extension this week. But Hemming is a guy who I think he's going to be on that line of he's either going to come in and prove, hey, with my shot and my skill set, I can instantly be in this top six or within this top six within the first 2 years of my career, or he's going to be kind of that guy that's going to dominate at the lower level and isn't really going to be a bottom six guy. He's a high risk, he's a high ceiling, he's a high ceiling. I don't want to say low floor, but he's a high ceiling guy, but he's a guy without a certain floor that is going to be really
interesting. Two things real quick about that. Rope Hintz was not, to my eye, immediately recognizable as the future first number one, top line center for the Dallas Stars. I remember Mark Janko said to me once, he's going to be our top line center pretty early. He says, we could see it. And I go, boy, I'm not so sure. And if you go back and look at Rope's first couple of years of playing pro hockey, it was back and forth between Texas and Dallas. Okay, maybe he had a point every other game in Texas his first year. His second year, he spent a lot of time in Dallas, but he only had 22 points in 58 games, which isn't bad for a young player, but it's not a point a game. You have to go past COVID to the 2021 shortened season before you started to see Rope scoring at a point per game pace, right? He just wasn't. And so there is a development. Now, I'm not saying that ML Hemming is going to be Rope Hintz, but I am saying that even though I was a little disappointed I didn't see Hemming pop in the prospect tournament that we saw, we used to call the Traverse City tournament, and then in preseason games, I wanted to see more. I went, wow, he's a little over his depths or out of his depths. Maybe that's just because of the age, and that's okay. And we have to, Sean made a great point. Wyatt Johnston is not normal. He does, most players need to have time. Rope Hintz, who is by far one of the best Stars players on the roster, Rick Bowness was the coach and saying, Rope's got to round out his game. If it's not on the rush, he's not doing anything. And it took time. So be patient. But the last thing I want to do, we're running out of time here because we're already out of time. Sam said, if he's on the team. So my question to Sean is, why might Emil Hemming not still be in the organization?
Well, that goes back to the conversation of, we talked earlier this week about lines and what we'd like to see, and I said it wouldn't be bad to see Nazem Kadri on this team or some of the other options. Blake Coleman and
Kiefer Sherwood.
I don't know if those two would necessitate the Hemming trade for me. The Kadri one would be more of the Hemming one, but that's the spot where he is probably, after Maverick Bourque, Hemming's probably your most valuable asset outside of bundling some picks together. And I think this is it kind of goes to the logic from a Stars perspective. And I said this to you when we were doing some show prep on this, of you develop players to play for you, but you also develop them to maximize your team and build as many assets as possible. Logan Stankoven is going to have his career impact with the Carolina Hurricanes, but Logan Stankoven was developed to the element, to the space of being able to bring Mikko Rantanen into Dallas.
Yeah, you didn't lose a prospect there. You used him to gain value.
Use the value.
Exactly. And I think that's something to keep in mind when you talk about trading prospects and doing that. You want to make sure you're doing, at the end of the day, you're trying to win a Stanley Cup. And if moving Emil Hemming to get a Nazem Kadri or something like that this year is going to potentially help you win a Stanley Cup, I think you do it. Once again, he might still be with this Dallas and go forward. I think he's a good player with a good future. I just think it's a go ahead from a Stars perspective, and I can't say this enough. I've said it on this show. I'll say it again. I think the reality is, with where you are, you're prepping for a boxing match in April against the Minnesota Wild. You gotta load up, you gotta bulk up, you gotta do that. It's basically the rest of this season is the Rocky montage, and
you're in the woods lifting tree logs.
Yeah,
So-
yep, and it's if we're gonna go the American versus Russian line on it, it works well. Like Kirill Kaprizov is punching like sensors like in the laboratory, and Jason Robertson goes on a 2
He's
weeks
lifting boulders.
Like that would be the great imagery. February, when neither of them are at the Olympics, one because of geopolitical issues and one because of the geopolitical issues, GM deciding to make NHL political issues. The two of them basically side by side training video, like cut screen of like Jason Robertson like going off into the woods to train and then just come
Working
back
out in
and
a
then
barn
Kirill Kaprizov-
somewhere. I love it. Well, it'll be interesting to see if the Stars can improve themselves by the trade deadline and still hang on to Emil Hemming, because he is probably their number one prospect right now. I would like that, but it wouldn't ruin my year if they had to use him
in that list too.
Yeah, that's interesting. We'll do more talk about that as we get closer to the deadline, of course, but we are way over time, so we have to say goodbye for today. We do not have a show tomorrow because we have a game on Saturday. Stars at the San Jose Sharks. It's a 3:00 Central Time, 2:00 or 2:30 pregame show. Remember, the Stars are off today. They'll be practicing in California tomorrow. Today's a travel day, because why not do a road trip where you're in the East Coast for 2, the West Coast for 3, and Mountain Time for 1? It makes total sense.
For sure.
2:30 Saturday pregame show with Luds, Sam, me, and Ryan. And a big thank you, of course, to Sean and Luds today for being on the show for we hope, non-contagious Sam and Ryan Vaughters. I'm Owen Newkirk. And, of course, for Sean and Luds, we'll see you Saturday. Have a great rest of your day.
That's like serious.
Home run, 5-star. Not 4.9, 5-star.
We all silly like the mayor.